So, today I want to talk to you about a very important and very personal issue for me, because I know that many people react to recycling, environment, and other topics very much differently. But I want to ask you to be open-minded today and to try to resonate with me. But before I start, let's a little bit warm up and see how much familiar you might already be with this topic. Raise your hand if you recognize these books. Yeah, I see a journalist faculty part. So for those who see them for the first time, this is our English textbooks. And the point is that covers of the books change, but topics inside stay the same. These are communication, sport, languages, and so on. But along with those very gripping and exciting topics we can run on for hours, there is always some discussions that make us bored rigid. And one of them is the environment. What immediately pops up in your head when you see that the next chapter of a textbook is dedicated to it? Probably that is your active vocabulary. Something like pollution, acid rains, global warming, and many other disrupting and frightening things which are about to erupt on us with fury because we are so careless with our attitude towards nature. And this is kind of stressful, right? And it doesn't sound like a pleasant conversation at all, even though we all realize the potential threats. But what I personally believe is that such an emotional approach can maybe too overwhelming. And this is fine, because our psyche is trying to protect us. But the thing is that we're just becoming numb to this issue. It's like you know that it is vital, but you forget about it as soon as you leave the class. But you know, there is always a turning point in any plot of a film or a book when the main character experiences a life-changing moment. And from now on, nothing can be the same. For example, he or she gets a superpower. And I had my life-changing experience too. Could you please guess what country is that? Yes, that is Switzerland, well known for its breathtaking views and rustic charm. And could you get what country is that? Which looks actually like any polluted country some years ago. But that is also Switzerland, but 20 years ago. Only 20 years ago, beautiful landscapes we know now looked like this because of waste. The government was just dumping waste as it is done right now in Russia, poisoning earth, underground waters and air with toxic emissions. And when they realized that they have really serious problems, they introduced strict recycling policy. And now we can see such a beautiful and dramatic change. So my story is, I went for an exchange there. And before that, here in Moscow, I never felt somehow influenced by bad ecology. I actually always thought that bad ecology looks like this, or maybe like this, but definitely not like this, because it looks like my plans for holidays with friends, actually. However, you can notice a great difference when you have spent some time in a place like Switzerland, where people are cautious about recycling. And that might sound a little bit like an advertising, but it was a very life-changing experience for me. Unfortunately, Swiss government doesn't pay me anything, but still, I want to tell you that good ecology turned out to me to have outstanding properties, making your skin and hair shine, which is absolutely great, and girls will understand me, because you don't have to do much to look fabulous. And I really appreciated how cost-effective it turned out to be, because, you know, Swiss prices have no mercy for exchange students. But all things mentioned above are like great bonuses. What was a really astonishing experience for me is how energetic I felt there. I realized that constant tiredness I used to experience was not from lack of sleep, because of binge-watching Netflix, of course, you know what I mean, but also from poor ecology. And this big discovery made me very sad, because from my whole heart I want us all to have such a great quality of life here in Moscow, in Russia. What we have now is 70,000 landfills that occupy 40,000 square kilometers of our beautiful country. And actually, this numbers doesn't tell you anything, but I will give you a reference point. Actually, 40,000 square kilometers is equal to the total area which occupies Switzerland. And this is really shocking because we all have to squeeze in our tiny apartments, while waste seems to be doing quite well. So why don't we introduce recycling? Why so many people are still so unenthusiastic about it? This is a rhetoric question because I believe there are many possible answers for that. But I personally believe that one of the reasons or stumbling blocks we face today is numbness, I have mentioned before. People simply do not react to the information properly. So probably we should prepare it somehow differently. I'm here today to tell you about another way to approach recycling, an unconventional one, but I'm warning you in advance, they might look weird, but they serve their purpose. They grab your attention. Okay, this is Sweden, and as you might see, they have a very special approach to the design of recycling points. To be more specific, they fitted public waste bins with loudspeakers that play music. And of course, it is not pleasant lyrics that make you come and do your recycling. That would be hilarious. But what I want to say, this is a trigger point. It creates a different attitude and change your behavioral patterns. And this is Russia. And yes, there is such a movement as Orden Разделенной Urny, which is just amazing. They do not only introduce recycling initiatives in their regions and educate people, but also they have created their own unconventional approach to grab your attention. Like, for example, they have their own segregated waste master's life guidance, which is «Правила жизни мастера раздельной урны». And not to offend anyone in the audience, I'm translating it not because I feel probably they will not get it, but I think when you translate it from Russian into English, it just loses its precious charm. And who am I to deprive you of such a great opportunity to know how beautifully and poetically it sounds in the original? I wouldn't go much into the details, but just to get the gist of what it is, I will give you an example of one rule. So, rule number 1. The master of the segregated waste is the very human being who has reached his inner peace and mastered the art of waste sorting. With great pleasure and delighted heart, he spreads the knowledge of recycling, which is beautiful. I see you all smiling. That is really another way of drumming up support for waste sorting, which is based on a positive message. So these people try to communicate ecological problems differently. They do not go too dramatic, on contrary. They try to find a different approach to break ice, your numbness, and resonate with you. I do not encourage you today to rush home and terror your family with recycling initiatives, but truth be told, if you do so, you will win my heart because I will feel so privileged. But the thing you can actually do is to start talking about it, to change the way people perceive this topic. And if someone tells you that, recycling is actually a matter of national character, I'm not sure that Russians can do that. I have a winning counter-argument for you. Referring back to my Swiss experience, when I was there, I was talking to my foreign friend and we were exchanging some funny facts about our home countries. And I told him something which I thought will be hilarious and he will really like, and what we all Russians do. I told him about our bag with plastic bags. And I felt myself like a great comedian. I thought he will be laughing so much. But his reaction was startling, as he told me something like, "Wow, this is so clever of you to reuse plastic bags. That is so environmentally friendly." And of course I was shocked and quite angry because he has spoiled my joke. But the point is that actually on this example you see that we are, Russians in particular, we are inherently concerned about the environment. And one of the things we can do is to change the way we talk about it. Thank you.